All right. Hey, and good evening. Thank you so much for coming out. Wanted to give just an extra minute here before we got started tonight, just to let some folks on, because as we hit the top of the hour, typically that's when everyone comes pouring on. You know how they are, those late folk. But anyway, thank you for everybody who's joining tonight. I want to make this very, very worth your time because I know it's valuable and it's awesome. You have a lot of writing to do, and so I appreciate y'all taking the time to come out. I was looking at the guest list today, and I see a lot of couple familiar faces, but actually a whole slew of new folks, which is super cool. So for all of you who are new and probably haven't been exposed yet to the shenanigans that will go on tonight, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're going to be taking notes. Now, before we kick this off, one really quick thing, what I very much request that you do, and this is my preferred method because it keeps me off the computer, is if I'm ever on a webinar and there's going to be some stuff that's being taught, and there will be lots of things that I am teaching, get some paper and a pen. And if you're watching this at home, by the way, you can just pause this right now and grab some paper and a pen because it's going to be very helpful. You're going to take at least 2 pages of notes. I'm guessing. I really have no idea, but that just sounds so official if I just throw that out there. 2 pages of notes. Because I'm going to be showing you what we've learned from working with, I think we are almost at 6,000 authors now. I'd have to check that out. Typically, I'd say over 5,500, which is very true. But yeah, we're busting up around the 6,000 author mark, and we've done over 470 successful marketing campaigns out of those folks. So those are the folks who work with the Author Platform Rocket program and whatnot. And I'm going to show you tonight what we've learned from that. And this is something that these are really powerful techniques and tactics. I'm actually going to show you all how to set this stuff up for yourself. So this is one of those trainings tonight where absolutely, sure, you want to buy something cool, love to have you in the program. But the reality is I want you to see what's going on out there so that you know and have a better idea as to why maybe you've been missing the boat on marketing before and not getting the results that you're hoping for. There's very specific reasons for this. And we've been able to ferret these out working with all these authors over a huge range of genres. And so tonight is going to be predominantly for fiction authors. And what I find is, and typically before I hit the record button on this, we do a fast poll like we did this evening, and the results are typically always the same. Out of every 100 people that are here, about 5% are making over $5,000 a month, and everybody else is usually making way less than that, if not anything at all. There's always a good percentage that are thinking about getting started, that are probably kicking the tire on, hey, do I want to become an author? And so we're going to be addressing that as well. So this is for folks who are very established, and this is predominantly for folks who are trying to get established, who have one book out, maybe call it 1 to 4 books out right now. So I think you people are going to get the biggest boom out of this. Or if you have books that are about to be released, either independently or with a publisher, you're really going to like this because it's going to frame up your experience. I'm going to try to nutshell the entire experience. In fact, let's just kick this off. Let's get right into this here. Before I did one of these a few weeks ago, I sent an email to the author subscribers we had, and I said, hey, what's the biggest question you have? What's the biggest concern? What's your experience? Because I wanted to get to know in your own words what exactly the suffering is and what's the problem, so I can help address that and help alleviate that problem for you. And we got a ton of responses back, but this one young lady who's in the romance market nailed it. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. I feel, and I clipped the name out because I felt that this was a very personal, very intimate, question, and I didn't want to, embarrass anybody for this. But I think this is the exact problem universally throughout the market with almost every single author we work with who isn't doing over, like, say, $25,000 a month or something like that. I'll just read it to you just in case this is hard to see on the screen. My biggest question is discoverability. I've spent thousands of dollars to market my 13 romance fantasy books. I try every new thing that hits the market, whether Facebook ads or discount sites or book bloggers, you name it, I've tried it, and I'm still only selling an average of 3 books a day. Sometimes 1 book, sometimes no books. I'm doing all the right things, or so I think. I'm putting out 4 to 6 books a year. I'm active on social media. I have great covers according to my reviews. The books are well written. My books get reviewed incredibly well when they get found. How do I show up against the white noise of all the other books out there and find more readers who will buy my backlist? I mean, you could just hear if you're a baseball fan, you could just hear the click of the ball, the bat hitting the ball and knocking it out of the park. Like the stands just went nuts with this. So even if you're not in romance, even if you don't have 13 books out, even if you don't have any books out when you're thinking about getting into this, this is the thing that almost every single author is struggling with right now. Whether you're traditionally published or independently published, it's discoverability. And she's right, she is doing everything correctly in terms of the book production and manufacturing that stuff to get it out there. But how the heck do you find people to read it? Because it no longer works. There was a brief flicker of time where you could publish a book and people would care. Now it's not like that anymore. That's been gone for a long, long, long time. We're creeping up on, I'd say, just shy, maybe 8 years, let's call it, since that was even the case. So how do you do it? How do you stand out amid all that noise? Because that's what it is. And especially in romance, and typically any given evening, we're going to have 2/3 of the folks who are here are doing some form of romance. Because if you look at the numbers, 2/3 of any authors are doing some form of romance. But this is for everybody. This is for any kind of fiction genre that you could possibly put out there. We work with just about all of them. So I've seen this over and over and over and over and over again. And the piece of good news is, okay, so that's the bad news, is that everybody is experiencing some pretty Herculean pain trying to become a successful author. And by successful, I just mean earning a livable income from selling your books. I'm not talking about, that small handful of people that are doing like 100,000 to 2 million a month or something crazy like that. And I'll show you some examples of folks tonight that are doing that. It's incredible. I'm just talking about people that want to make the car payment and pay the rent in the car and put food on the table. Not even super expensive steak or something like that. But it's just people that want to earn like a normal living doing what they love to do. It is a tragically hard road to hoe, and so hopefully I can take some of that pain away by getting your expectations in line with reality. So this is what we're going to be going through tonight, and this is by no means inclusive at all. I'm going to show you why the majority of these marketing efforts aren't producing the desired result you want. And there are a ton of things that tons of authors are doing all the time. In fact, it's so predictable when an author puts out a new book, exactly what they're going to do and why it doesn't work. And I'll show you how to actually flip that stuff around. And then how to set up your business, because if you want to be a professional author, you need to realize this is a business. You have 2 hats that you have to wear. One is the business hat, one is the artist hat. And if you fail in either one of those hats, it won't work. That is just an unfortunate reality. I know every author out there wants to be like, my word, I just want to write my books. Why can't somebody else handle this business thing for me? No problem. I'm going to show you all the cool stuff. But this is a reality. There are 2 things that you have to be doing every single day. They are daily rituals. If you do them every day, you can transform your life with this stuff. It's really kind of awesome how this stuff works. I'll show you the single most important element of your author business that creates discoverability and leverage. So whether you're published through a publisher or whether you're going at it by yourself, your paths are literally the same. And then obviously we will take your questions at the end of this cool thing. So there we go. Without further ado, let's jump into this thing. That is me and the fam. Actually, there's another wee creature that was unfortunately not in that particular picture. But I've been doing online marketing and self-publishing for a long time. Since 2004. I started in 2004 and I failed at it absolutely miserably. I was just like, wow, I had just sort of woken up to the idea that this internet marketing thing was probably going to be around to stay. I was one of those artist people. It's sort of funny if you've heard any of my backstory on the podcast, specifically Rock and Self Publishing and Wordslinger, just because those guys are hilarious. I used to be a musician. I used to be writing all the time, doing all the fiction stuff. I had what is called artist brain, and I thought that business was evil. I thought that corporations were bad, and all these different kinds of things. I didn't get it. I thought marketing was like this disgusting thing that if you did marketing, you were somehow polluting what it was. I didn't get it yet. Okay, it took me years of failing and scratching my head and wondering why the heck is none of this working before I realized that, oh, wait a minute, marketing is actually not a bad thing unless you do it like a bad thing. It's a choice. And suddenly I kind of woke up to this, like, crappy marketing is a decision that you make. If you want to be a good marketer and market properly, you make the decision to learn how to do that. And people thank you for it instead of doing sort of the used car salesman thing. And so I had this sort of awakening between 2004 and let's call it 2006, because I was struggling against all this stuff. I was like, no. It's like, I want to have a business, but I don't want to market. Like, that didn't even make sense. That didn't even make sense. Well, once I kind of woke up to that, and I woke up to the fact that I needed to build my audience and I needed to be doing some core fundamentals. Between 2008 and 2010, I was able to launch a seven-figure publishing business. And this was not just doing typical books and things. I would write my own books. I was teaching things like search engine optimization, like how to get top Google rankings, and nonfiction kind of stuff like that. So I had moved away a little bit from fiction and got kind of into the nonfiction thing, and just had a wonderful time with it. Had a great time. In 2010, actually, it was 2008 is when I started to very quietly experiment with Kindle. So I was 1 year behind the launch of the actual device. And so in 2008, I started publishing with Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. And it was much different than it is today. Oh, my word. It was hilarious, hilariously different. But what I ended up doing was creating several books that did very, very well. A nonfiction personal development slash personal finance book, and a vampire novel that was directed at paranormal romance folks, and launched both of these things and totally killed it on both of them. In fact, the nonfiction book, back in the day when they did this, became the featured book in the business and investing section on the front page of Kindle. It was amazing. It was like, the amount of exposure that I got while I was there for several days was just huge. I was out selling Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, like all these, Susie Orman, like all these huge names. And it was really, really awesome. We created a publishing, I created a product at the tail end of 2011 based around what I had learned with this called Perfect Publishing System. Now, don't run out and get that because I haven't updated it since 2014. It's no longer relevant. But I created this product and sold about 3,500 copies of this thing. It was really, really cool. And because of that, folks like Pat Flynn, if you're familiar with Smart Passive Income, it's one of the top business and development podcasts on iTunes. He was looking at putting out a book, and so my name kept coming up over and over again as people were asking, well, who do I talk to about self-publishing? And he had me on, and we had some really great success with it. And at that same time, there was we had created a very tiny little publishing company that we partnered with a health and fitness company, and we ghost wrote and then launched a book for them and sold 15,000 copies in 7 days with this. And the reason, in fact, I'm going to show you, tonight is basically about the reason why we knew that was going to happen going into this, is that they had a mailing list of 680,000 people. And so we knew that it was going to be a foregone conclusion that this book was going to move some units. And it did. It was awesome. And so that was this huge explosion, and went on to launch a bunch more books that did very well. Also, it had developed a bunch of book discovery sites similar to BookBub for genre fiction and whatnot. And so that's sort of how all this stuff happened. And then in 2015, I had been getting requests from authors for years, can you just, do this stuff for us? And I launched what's called Author Platform Rocket. And to this day, we've handed out over 611,000 subscribers to authors. And we've been absolutely kicking butt with it. So I've been doing this publishing thing for a very long time. And more specifically, I've been doing this advertising online, this marketing stuff. I've done media, radio, newspaper, all sorts of different kinds of things. I know newspaper, it sounds like, what? How old is this guy? But it's like, it still works. It's for certain things. It's actually very, very cool. So I've been doing this a while, and all the experience that I have, I'm going to give to you this evening in one way or another. And on top of that, so to make it very relevant to you, this is where we're going to start looking at those 470 fiction author specific campaigns that we were running and whatnot. And so lots of authors, I have literally pages of these things, but I want to kind of encapsulate what this stuff can do, okay? So like I said, we work with just shy of 6,000 authors now in various capacities, from people that are on the newsletter to people that are buying advertisements in our book discovery sites to people that are Author Platform Rocket clients, a huge array of stuff. But Christine Church was awesome. She wrote on, she's like, you helped me make the top 100 in Kindle. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for all you've done. The line in here that I really appreciate is this may be just a business to you, a way to make money, but to us struggling writers, it means everything. I can't thank you enough. I was so touched by that, but it's a little bit wrong because this is not just a business to me. Obviously, we all have something that we do that pays the rent, but this is something that I feel very strongly about. I am extremely in love with fiction authors and what happens here, and I've made it my life's goal to help as many as possible achieve whatever their level of success is with this kind of thing. And so that's why I do these webinars, and that's why we do all this ongoing training and stuff like that for folks. This was an awesome one. Abby Weeks is a very, very, very successful romance author who actually, it was funny that she bought one of our book ads and wrote in saying she needed the intake form. And when I replied, she's like, "What? Oh my God, this is so crazy." Well, I had an old podcast back in the day called Audience Hacker. Unfortunately, I had to turn it off because my wife was pregnant and having 7 kidney stones, so we didn't have any sleep. But we are rebooting it, by the way. But anyway, she wrote in, and this is awesome. She's like, "I owe you a lot. I got my ebook sales up to $100,000 per month after taking up a lot of the paid traffic methods I first heard on your podcast. Tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually show you what these methods are that she's talking about so that you can begin to implement them yourself if you so choose." This is a potential result from what happens here. This is some really, really, really cool stuff. And these are things that actually can happen if you choose to learn these things, embrace the learning curve, and put one foot in front of the other. You absolutely can have very awesome things, but it's probably going to take a lot of mindset shifting. So very quickly, we have 3 kinds of attendees tonight. Obviously, we have the ones who are going to argue and fight against. I find this all the time. It's not just artists. It's literally everybody. You kind of get the haters and the trolls that show up just so they can pick on what you say and try to come up with reasons why what you're saying is like dumb, okay? I get it, that's fine. It's a horrific mindset. If anyone here tonight is feeling angry about that, because maybe I'm hitting a little bit too close to home, take a deep breath and maybe, let go of your anger. It's okay. I know there's a lot of very angry artists out there because they're not seeing the kind of results that they want. They really want stuff to work for them. And I get where that's coming from. There's a lot of fear out there because there's a lot of things that seem very complicated and hard to do, and it seems like nothing ever works, and it just creates this anger. But what I cannot abide by is the resentment when other authors become successful, and then you have other authors trying to be like the crab in the bucket. What is that that phrase you say? How do you keep a crab in a bucket? Well, you put it in a bucket with a bunch of other crabs, and when one of them rises up, all the crabs try to pull them down. Please work on never being this kind of human being for the rest of your life. In any way, not just tonight when we're talking about how to become a successful author, in your life in general. I think this kind of person, personally, I think they need to be weeded out of the earth because it's holding the rest of the humans back. Don't be that person. I know it's a strong opinion to have, but I've been dealing with this element for long enough that, nah. So anyway, you also have the folks who hear the message loud and clear but won't make changes. The stuff I'm going to show you tonight is not a linear path. There are things that are going to need, you're going to look at what you're doing currently, and 100% of you tonight are going to be like, oh, I could probably change this and maybe get a better result, and then some people won't. So listen, absorb, and implement immediately. Those are the folks, you folks, the ones I'm talking to right now, the ones that are going to listen to this and take notes and be like, yeah, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to do this. These are the people who are going to stand a better chance of becoming successful. Like I said, a better chance, not necessarily guaranteed. Please understand, there is nothing guaranteed in life ever, period, end of story, except death and taxes. Death and taxes, absolutely I can guarantee those things. Outside of that, everything I'm going to be showing you tonight is based off of not only my experience, but the experience of thousands of other authors that I've been able to share in and watch them become successful, have the conversations with them, have interviews with them. So I have a decent sort of, let's call it bird's eye, 30,000 foot view of what's going on in the market on top of my own experience with books that I've published. So what I'm going to tell you tonight, what I'm going to show you tonight, let's call it 80%. 80% of the market is doing this. There's always going to be those freak of nature, sort of like, I published a book and became famous stories. Don't listen to those. Those are not normal. You're always going to have people that get lucky, that are somehow fortunate, that fate smiled upon them, and next thing you know, they're, rich and famous and everything's cool. The rest of us, that's like less than 0.1% of humanity. So for the rest of us, we're actually going to have to put in some work. We're going to have to put, the elbow grease, the time. We're going to have to go through that thing where our friends and family make fun of us, where it looks like we're failing more than we're succeeding, that kind of thing, okay? And it takes a long time. The path typically, once you found your voice and you found your audience, takes 3 years. And so finding your voice and finding your audience, that's up to you how long it takes. And that's a matter of just getting out there and doing more writing and getting out there and taking your lumps a little bit. But once you're there, it takes about 3 years to get to the point where you're going to be, putting food on the table with what you make from your books. That's a realistic expectation. For some, it will be faster. For others, it'll be slightly slower. But that's kind of realistic for the most people. So like I said, 80% chance that if you follow this stuff, you're going to be really doing well. So please implement, because if someone handed you $100 and took you to Vegas and gave you 2 choices of games, and one game was less than 1/10% chance that you'd make $1 billion versus one that was an 80% chance that you'd make, that you could put that $100 down and end up making, $5,000 a month. I mean, you'd be insane not to just take the $5,000 a month. Like, what's $1 billion if you have, it's less than this horrible lottery-like number of winning? That's what I'm going to show you tonight. Like I said, life is life. Nothing's guaranteed, but please implement this stuff. You can do this. So let's start unratcheting everyone's brains. One of the biggest problems out there is that authors believe their books are the most important part of this. They are unfortunately not. And I know that that is a terrible thing to say. It's almost sort of like sacrilegious, if you will, but it is true. And so my goal tonight is to be as brutally honest with everyone as possible. I think that you won't benefit from me sugarcoating this. I've been on a lot of webinars with a lot of people where they try to soften this blow. I don't know. I just, you know what? No, I'm not. Your books don't matter. It doesn't matter how amazing of a writer you are. It doesn't matter first. It never will. And here's why. If you put that book out there, and there's amazing authors, there are tons of them, but if you put that book out there, how is anyone going to know that you did that? You could tell a couple of friends and family. That's not enough oomph to generate buzz. You need to have, today, to cut through the noise, like what something like 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm not talking about the quality of book. I'm talking about the phenomenon of that book. In order to get something like that to happen, you need to put yourself in front of millions of people. And then your book has to be cool and awesome and something people want to talk about. So your book is the second most important thing. Your marketing is the first important thing. How do you get those people? How do you get in front of those people? And how do you make them decide to gamble on your book versus the thousands of other people out there? And that's what I'm going to be showing you tonight. It's the question of discoverability. How do you get discovered? And it has nothing to do with your writing, your skill at writing, and that's just unfortunate. But it's also very, very true. So please understand that. And it's funny because typically I look at the stats on the webinar, and this is where you get like a third of the people. It's like, screw this, and they drop out because they can't handle this. But that's okay. But the rest of you that are still here, good on you. The other thing is, if you're already going out there and you're already marketing and you're doing those Facebook takeover parties and all these different kinds of weird tactics, you're probably not selling enough books to even cover the cost of what you paid to put into it. And that's an unfortunate thing. But it's also, it goes to the fact that you're doing things incorrectly in the wrong order. So there's a way to do, you could still do those things, but you do them in a different order, in a different place, and it typically works out. So that's what I call hope marketing, that if you continue to hope that if you just do the same stuff, eventually success is going to show up, it doesn't really work like that. You have to sort of make some pivots in your tactics and how you perceive the world. Because when you start to understand some fundamental realities of how the internet works, how people buy, how readers do things, then you're going to be like, oh, this makes sense. So if I put this in front of them instead of this, I can build leverage. So that's what we'll do. Now, also, the big thing is that any part of this is easy. Remember, I'm not selling you a get-rich-quick scheme. It was funny. I was on the Rock and Self-Publishing podcast, and a lady commented underneath it, she's like, this sounds too good to be true, like one of those get-rich-quick schemes. I'm like, what part? The part where I told you it's going to take at least 3 years of working your butt off almost every single day for something that'll look like it'll fail until it succeeds? I'm like, was that the get-rich-quick part? I'm like scratching my head going, how did you get that out of this? I'm not someone who's going to, like I said, I'm not going to pull punches or soften the blow or sugarcoat any of this. You're writers. This is a labor of love. for you. If it's not, if you're trying to do this to get rich, you're in the wrong business. You can go sell self-help books. That you want to make money, go become a guru to people. That's a huge business. People, I've worked with folks in that market. I mean, those people pay money for anything to feel a little bit better about themselves. That's where, if you want to write books that make money, go do that. Seriously, but don't be writing fiction for the love of all that's holy. If you're trying to get rich, you got to do it because you love it. You know, you love the stories, you love the characters, and then you do it. So this is going to take a while, okay? So hopefully this is enough. I've given you enough of a background, and I've been brutal enough with you that those of you who have hung on by your fingernails during this time could be like, all right, this guy's clearly not at least totally full of it. Because I know there's a lot of disbelief out there in the world. So hopefully I can alleviate that. So let's get started on this. This is why your stuff isn't working, okay? This is why if you're out there marketing your books currently, you're not seeing the results that you want. And it's something I want you to think of called inside versus outside marketing. So a Facebook takeover or a cover reveal or a book trailer or let me think of a couple others, a Twitter part, there's all sorts of different things. All that stuff you're doing out there, like a blog tour, those things can be somewhat effective, but they're not building the one thing you need, which is leverage. And so what you're doing is you need to do these things. You need to take all that stuff that you're broadcasting outward into the world. You need to broadcast it inside. So what I want you to picture is your body sort of floating in space, and there's a bubble around you. And that space outside of the bubble is filled with people that love your genre, readers that are dying to read more of your genre, whether it's action, adventure, thrillers, mysteries, horror, romance, whatever, who cares, whatever, that's sci-fi. You're floating in a genre pool of these people, and they're just sort of passing by, and you're like, hey, I got books, I got books, I got books. Well, they don't know you from a hole in the ground. And so the goal of outside marketing is to do specific things that attract them to your bubble. And then there is a decision they make to go from the outside to then pass through that membrane. Now you have the opportunity to start getting a little bit more traction with them. So outside goes inside. Inside marketing, all those tactics that you're doing on the outside, let's bring them inside. Hopefully that made sense. Let me give you a quick narrative that most people have found pretty humorous about this. Bathing, showering, if you will. That's why we have the picture of the cat here, is to remind me to tell you this. Showering has been deemed a beautiful thing. You should do it every day. It promotes health, longevity, wellness. You smell better. People like you more. You look clean. There's nothing wrong with showering. It's literally one of the best things you could do. It makes you feel better and everything. So you go into your own home, you go into your bathroom, and you shower. You do that stuff. You towel off, spritz, and you're on with your day, right? And everybody will sort of mentally, people accept it now. They just expect it. So when you get someone who doesn't do this regularly, everyone kind of arches their eyebrows and go, whoa, what's up with Tom today? He smells like a rotting carcass. And that's usually what happens. So bathe. It's amazing. Now, what would happen if you take this amazingly socially acceptable, applauded behavior and you take it from being in your shower at home, and now you take those exact same actions outside of a Denny's at the Mall of America or something like that. Well, now you've gone from being hygienic and socially acceptable, you've immediately transformed yourself into a pervert. Okay? It's the same set of actions, but when done in the wrong place, the outcome is wildly dissimilar. So that's what's happening right now in the almost entire world of authors, is virtually every single person tonight who's struggling is showering outside of the Denny's. So you hear the sirens coming, you got the mall cops running after you, people are hiding their children's eyes, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do tonight is to flip this stuff around for you. So what does outside marketing mean? This is outside of your core fan group, outside of that bubble of influence. This is where people don't know you, but they might like what you write because they're genre. They're genre people. Now, notice something that I've done here. Outside marketing does not include the world at large. It never did. It never, ever, ever did. So don't ever go and buy radio ads for your books because no one's going to care. It's just one of those things where you don't need to broadcast advertising to the world. It doesn't work. It really very only did like in the 50s. And so when I say this, I'm talking about marketing only to people that like your genre. So that saves you a ton of pain and suffering right there anyway. And the goal of that, like I said, is to bring them in, to build this core fan base. So where your true fans are going to buy your books, they're going to hang out, they're going to do reviews, and they're excited for what you're going to release next. So I want you to think about this. If you're marketing your books to people that are excited to read what you want them to read, do you think, can you for a minute just imagine that it might be easier to sell more books if people are expecting you to sell them more books? You see what I'm saying? It's easier when people know who you are and they like what you write. That is logical. And I think everybody right now is kind of nodding their head going, yeah, yeah, yeah. But how do I get there? How do we get those people? Isn't that the big problem? It's like, yes, it is. And one of the reasons why authors struggle so badly with this is because there is a process behind how to do this. When most fiction authors do marketing, they expect everyone to show up and it to work perfectly. Nothing works perfectly. Marketing is a messy business, and it's something called prospecting. It is an action that lives in every single business out there. That is the industry terminology in every industry that involves selling something to someone. You have to prospect. You have to take people that have the likelihood of liking what you have, and you have to put them through a sequence of events that weeds out those people that don't want to. It's prospecting. What's nice is the machines do this for you. We actually have going on right now an 11-part training series where we teach this exact thing, like how do you get this stuff working? Because after we brought all these subscribers to authors, suddenly they were like, well, what do I do with them? So we're like, all right, let's solve that problem now too. Prospecting. It exists in fiction also because you guys are a business. If you want to be successful, you're a business, and in every business, you're always prospecting. Not everybody's going to become a fan, so people are going to leave at the beginning stage where they're passing from outside to inside. This is not where you try to sell them something. What you're going to be doing is something called a non-financial transaction, where your goal is to get an email address so that you can follow up with them in the future. And I know you've heard this before: build your mailing list, your newsletter, your platform, like all these different kinds of things. So the inside, once you have these people in, you launch your books, you can get your reviews, you can engage your fans, and you can do a bunch more stuff. Your goal, everybody's goal is to get 1,000 true actual fans. Whatever it takes to get them in there. That's what you want to do. Is if you can get that 1,000 true fans, you can nurture that. And when you release a new book, think about that. There's 1,000 people that want to buy your book, right? And it takes time to do this. This is not an overnight thing. You can't just like walk into a store, buy 1,000 true fans. You have to work with them a little bit. So that's what I said. There's definitely a process to this. So the single most important thing, and the question that we get all the time from authors is, there's so many things going on out there. There's so many different opportunities to try to market and to try to sell your books. And like I showed you at the beginning, she had tried everything and none of it was really working. So what's the single most important thing to focus on? Well, the number one thing is to build your platform. But people are messing it up because they don't really know what the platform is. It's not your social media accounts, because you have very little leverage there, like with Twitter and whatnot. And I'll show you some stats in just a second here. But I want to give you a case in point. You don't own these platforms, and so they can go south on you very, very quickly. Like Facebook, after about the middle of 2013, if anyone remembers this, there was a time before that where if you posted something on your business page, everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. It was crazy. It was amazing. It was like, woohoo, we could go viral. And then what happened? Well, Facebook went public. Now they needed to make money, and they shifted their entire business model from being a social media platform to being a social advertising platform. Guess what happened? If you want your fans to see you, now you have to pay for them to see you. Ta-da! That happens everywhere. If you guys remember when Amazon first developed their exclusive program, you could do something that we called a pulse, where you could make your book free for a day, shoot it up the food chain, and the minute you made it paid, it would come right back in there. I have screenshots from back in 2011 of people who did this, and literally it was a mom and pop cookbook, and it was Hunger Games 1, 2, 3, and then boom, right there in the middle of the top 5 of Amazon. It was amazing. Like, people could just do this overnight. Created huge successes. And then what happened with that? That lasted like 6 months. and then Amazon toned down that algorithm, and now it doesn't even have that effect even a little bit anymore. So there's a ton of things. Google, for example, used to be really easy. So there's one thing you can take to the bank outside of death and taxes. It's that advertising, all of this stuff, all the free ads that you're trying to get, if you're trying to get market on social media without paying for it, 100% of that will be ineffective very quickly because it all changes. Instagram very recently just implemented some new stuff. So if you're playing with Instagram or hoping to become popular in Instagram, unfortunately, that is going the same way that Facebook is going now too. So you have to be aware of this stuff. So the only element of your platform that matters is your newsletter. It's your email list, the subscribers that you get that sign up for some kind of thing. And I'll show you how to do this because most people, I think most authors at this point, have heard this. In fact, I've heard criticisms. It's like, there's all these people, Mark Dawson, or who's the other fellow? Nick something or other. I can't remember his last name right now. It was funny because we shared a cab when we were in Austin together, and I can't remember his name. Nick, if you're listening, I'm sorry. So Nick Stevens, there it is. He's a great dude, really awesome guy. But both of them have been up on all the podcasts, all the stuff, all the webinars doing build your list, build your list, build your list. And there's been a little pushback. It's like, how can that even work? Listen, it's a non-financial transaction. People that give you their email address are way more likely to become some kind of fan or reviewer or engage with you than people that just click like or follow you on Twitter or something on Instagram. You can send a message to these people, and they're probably going to see it. Like if you think about, they might not open it, remember, because think about you when you're cleaning out your inbox. You see some stuff come through, you're like, not interested in a new blouse today, so click, 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 delete, but at least you read them. At least you saw that. So it's net impressions. It's in your mind. You see that stuff. You don't see things on social media anymore. Very infrequently do you see everything that everybody posts, but you do see all the email. So look at this. Social media versus email. Social media, 1 billion active users on Facebook, 255 million on Twitter. Facebook fans who see your posts, way less than 6% now. I think it's like 1% if you're lucky. Click-through rates on tweets is like 0.5%. And you can't read all those things in the newsfeed because it's just so much information getting lost. Versus email. You have 3.9 billion email accounts. That's 3 times of Facebook and Twitter combined. Open rates, 20 to 30%. That's 5 times more likely. And that's an open where they actually open it and read it. So a lot of times click a link. Click-through rates in email, 3% industry standard, which is 6 times more than what you're seeing on tweets. And especially in Facebook. So many people don't click links in Facebook and things like that. So it's a massive, massive, massive difference. So it's way more responsive, it's way bigger, and you have a better chance of engaging people like that. So that's one of the main reasons why it's so important to do that. So the power of leverage. This is leverage. And leverage is kind of a difficult thing to describe verbally, but I'm definitely going to try it because what you need to be doing here is growing your email newsletter every single day. Remember I said there were 2 things that you needed to be doing? This is one of them. Every day you grow your newsletter. Your marketing, especially if you're making less than you want to be making with your books, your marketing should be predominantly focused on building that fan base in the form of email newsletter subscribers. And that's a daily thing. Couple of examples of people who do this. You probably have all heard of BookBub. BookBub is, $7 million in startup money from Silicon Valley. They are absolutely awesome. They dominate the crap out of this stuff. It's just huge. BookBub is amazing in every single conceivable way, but they are also people who get the email concept because their business model is hit send, sell books. And they can change lives because they reach millions of people. I Love Vampire Novels, one of my sites. That's one of the things that we have. It's paranormal romance focused, and that is what we do, is we hit send and sell books for authors. Romance Devoured, same thing for romance. My Romance Reads, another one. Pixel of Ink, another one. Good Librarian, and the biggest player among big players is Amazon. Amazon understands across the board in everything that they sell that the email subscriber is the most important. Every day you probably wake up with something in your promotions tab if you're on Gmail from Amazon. They hit send and they sell products. This is how it works. All right, so keep that in mind. This is not a mystery. This is a very open secret that if you're not focused on doing this, you are probably not going to become a successful author. That is just a fact, whether you're self-published or whether you're independently published. And I know there's lots of people that like to argue with this, but you can't. You can, well, I guess you can. You can argue it, but you will be wrong. This is what you need to be focused on, is growing your list. So what does leverage do? Let's just think about this for a second. If you are growing your subscriber base, that means you have a pool of people that is increasing on an ongoing daily basis that's interested in the stuff that you have to say. Now, like I said, I'm going to show you the process you go through to weed out the people who maybe are just curious or maybe decide they don't like it after a while. That's perfectly fine. That's just how this works. This is the reality of the business you're in. Once you have these people in there, you can hit send and you can sell books. So if you have a new launch, guess where you're going to do your cover reveal? Guess where you're going to do your trailer, your book trailer and all this kind of stuff? Guess who are the people that are going to tell their friends? It's your subscribers. These are the people that really like you. You want to grow your Facebook following? Sure, big numbers look cool. Hit send, grow Facebook. You want to grow your Twitter followers? Hit send, grow Twitter. That's how we do it. That's why we have, 146,000 or 160, almost 170,000 fans for I Love Vampire Novels. I think maybe 12 to 15,000 followers in Twitter. And most of that came from our email subscribers. So we've been able to reach hundreds of thousands of people a week across all this stuff because we leverage the email. You can request reviews. You can connect and relate. You can do all these different kinds of things. This is awesome. Kevin Tomlinson, huge fan of him. I actually make him the co-host on the show here. But I just sent out an email yesterday with the subject line, "Have you seen these books?" Made twice as much from that email as I did from a similar email at the beginning of April, all because my list is bigger thanks to you guys. This is what it means. If you grow your platform, you can hit send and you can sell books. So this is what it does. There's no greater tool in your business than the email list. So if you ask authors who have done this, where they get the bulk of their sales, there's probably going to be two things I say. Email, first and foremost, has the biggest bang for the buck, and the second one would probably be like Facebook ads or something. Very few people are seeing any success outside of either of those two things. So authors who are using their list correctly. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. We've had some authors working with us who came back and they're like, "Why isn't this working?" I'm like, "Well, show us what you did." And what they did was so ridiculous, like just completely off base. And that's why we do this ongoing training now, so that it makes a lot more sense. But let's look at this power here. Month 1, 100 subscribers, just kind of, obviously these are simplified numbers. Don't think this is reflective of reality. Most of our authors are doing, 150 to 200. Some of them are upwards of 1,000 subscribers a month. But just for case in point, kind of, so you get it. So after 6 months, that's 600 people. This is what the concept of growth over time looks like. You don't just wake up one morning and have 600 people. Like if you don't have a massive ads budget along with a background in marketing, then you need to spend hours and hours and weeks and months figuring it out before you can get to the point where you can, touch a button and have 600 people show up. But if you do it, if you just focus on this stuff, you focus on slow growth, month 1, 100, 100, 100, 100, you do just one thing every single day to do this and you'll be good to go. So those 600 people, you have a nice percentage who are going to probably buy that back catalog on top of buy the new stuff that you're selling. These are the people you launch the books to. So shower in your own home, don't shower in Denny's. So another way to look at this is when you throw yourself a birthday party, doing it the way that 99% of the authors on the world are doing it, is they're throwing themselves a birthday party and inviting everybody else's friends over. It's just not as fun because everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, so how old are you now?" And they'll blow out the candles, they'll sing happy birthday, take some party favors and leave. But ultimately, you didn't really accomplish very much. Maybe 1 or 2 people stick around and become a friend, versus people who are already your friends. They're gonna be a ball. You're gonna play games. Everyone knows you. They're gonna tell stories. There's laughing, clapping, and fun, and you'll probably get presents, which is awesome. So that's what you want to be doing here. And then what about the next book? 1,200 subscribers. So if you just look at this as 100 people a month, you grow it to 1,200. What about the next year? All right, that's 2,400 people. And obviously that's a very slow growth thing. I wanted to use little numbers so that it would, it looked better. So these are your 2 things that you need to do. You need to build your email list every single day, and you need to write more books every single day. So I'm not going to talk to you about how you write your books. I'm just going to tell you, you need to get a daily writing ritual, whether that's 500 words or 2,000 words, or some people even do 5,000 or 10,000 words. Whatever it is, you start somewhere. If you're new and you haven't gotten into this yet, but you're thinking about it, this is your job. Identify what you want to write, identify the people in that market that like that genre, go unto them and befriend them via this list building stuff. That's step 1. The next step is write stuff. every day. Right. If you could only get out 500 words a day, that should be very easy. Wake up half an hour earlier, you could bang out 500 words. Stephen King, in a recent interview that he did with George R. R. Martin, I love that one. Hopefully you saw that one too. George asked him, how do you write so fast? Actually, it was, how do you write so effing fast? Was his exact question. And Stephen King said, I write, he sits down every day, and I believe he said he does 6 pages. And that's awesome. And George was like, wow, that's amazing. And he's like, how do you do that? He's like, well, I don't write with the editor in mind. He just writes. He just puts the words on the page and lets it flow out of him. I think that's a much better strategy than trying to be perfect every time. In fact, if you ever read the book Write, Publish, Repeat from Sean, Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and David Wright. 3 great guys. Know them, just went to their Smarter Artist thing. In fact, they're clients of ours now, which is awesome. But those guys, got to get that book, Write, Publish, Repeat, because they encapsulate this thing so perfectly. You need to be putting out books every single year, and it can change your life like that. So if you combine, build your email list along with write those books, you're going to see really huge returns. Now, not overnight. Remember, we're eating an elephant here, and the best way to do that is one bite at a time, so it takes time. Amazing example of this is Bella Forrest. She hit the scene in 2012, and I've been following her career ever since this. I've had the opportunity to chat with her a few times via Facebook, which is awesome. And she's been very, very forthright about what she does. She writes every day. She builds her newsletter, and she sells books. What is it? I can't remember the name. It's eluding me right now. There's a website that extrapolates sort of a basic idea of what authors are earning every single month with their books. And so their spread on her is she's earning $1 to $3 million per month with her books using her back catalog. And she has about 22 books, I want to say, maybe a little bit more out, at least at the time that we're doing this webinar kind of thing. And this is all she does. She sends an email every, I think it's 3 to 4 weeks with a new book that she puts out. She's writing, like, this is machine-like. I wouldn't expect anybody to go this crazy with it, but this is what it looks like. Ebook, paperback, boom. She's a machine and just cranks this stuff out. She knows what her audience wants, and she gives it to them. And she is earning a triumphant sum of money doing this. So why do you need a newsletter? Or I'm sorry, what else do you do with this newsletter thing? Because after we have drummed home this point, which I think we've done, the next question is, but then what do I send them? Like, am I doing it too much? Am I talking too little? The question Simon brought up when he was interviewing me is like, well, what if people just want to hear about my books and they don't want to hear about this other stuff? You could do things called list segmentation. I'm not going to get into that tonight because we obviously don't have time. But we train that for that in the ongoing webinars and things like that. There's a course for the Author Platform Rocket folks that we do every Tuesday night where we train this stuff like crazy. But anyway, what you do is you sell them books, obviously. But then if you want to engage with them, because we recommend that you mail them once a week so they don't forget who you are. Because this is a huge problem for authors. It's like, okay, I get it, mailing list. And they start building it. Like, but what do we say? Because if you let your mailing list go for a couple of months, then people forget who you are. And they're likely to hit something. They're like, hit spam or do something like that, or unsubscribe and be like, I don't know who this person is. And so what you want to do is keep on top of them with something. And so here's 3 ideas. And a lot of authors are using these right now, and they're actually having tons of success with them. And so I call them life-based interactions. And what you do is you mail once a week. And the example right here, I'll give you 2 more based around just food and drink. Real simple stuff. There are free apps out there that you can use on your phone where you can record yourself or do a live stream like Facebook Live or all these different kinds of things where you could interact with your fans. And so in this particular thing, why don't you ask people on your newsletter, or what you could do is one good way to bring Facebook and your newsletter together in one area is you create a post and you send an email to your newsletter to that post. So let's say on that post, you say, hey, listen, today I want to pick a mixed drink. We're having a little party. I want to feature a mixed drink, and everybody who does, and we're going to pick one of those mixed drinks to be our, the big thing that we make for everybody. And whoever we choose, we're going to give you an autographed copy of our book. And so now it's about your books again. But it's not about your books. It's about the fun you're going to have, and it's about engaging your audience. But at least you're now making it about those books. And so then you get this huge conversation going on this one particular thread. And that does span out. And people are like, oh, what's this? And people do see that because their friends are talking about it. And that's how Facebook works. Is if the friends talk about it, not if the businesses talk about it. But once their friends are talking about it, now you got some viral traffic. And so what you do is just do like a video of it. post that one to Facebook, mail that one to Facebook, and hey, Timmy Tutos from Omaha, Nebraska, how you doing? That kind of thing. You want a copy of the book where you went with your placenta on the beach or whatever the drink that you decided to make was. That's one way to do it. Exact same thing with like Feast Friday. Some sort of dish. I actually, when I recommended this, one of the authors that I'm friends with on Facebook that does our stuff started doing this. And I found an amazing pot roast recipe that one of her readers had posted. And I've been cooking that stuff like crazy. It's absolutely delicious. But so it's super cool. It's been feeding my family for months now. It's amazing. But you could do the same thing. Once again, make it about your book. Make it about a piece of swag. If you don't have any paperbacks, maybe you have something you're going to give them that is about your books, about your series and things like that. Once again, Wine on Wednesday. Have somebody, so you could see most people's lives have a lot to do with food and drink. And you could do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could do snacks. You could do appetizers. You could do desserts. Whatever you want to do. These are just examples and sort of like overall concepts of how on a weekly basis you can interact with your fans. Now, the next big question was, well, what if people aren't into this? What if your readers just want to hear about books? Well, you can do something, and like I said, we're not going to get too deep, but every autoresponder system, that's your newsletter software, let's call it, almost every one of these services has a thing where you can have people select whether or not they want to get certain emails. And so, you create two lists. If they don't want it, they can literally click a link and they'll be unsubscribed from one list and put onto another one. And that is the best way to do it. It's literally completely automated. We actually teach that stuff on how to make those things happen. So it's literally a non-issue. It's a total non-issue, and you just set that up in advance. Be like, hey, if you don't want to participate, I get it, but hey, don't leave because you like the book. So I'll just tell you when we have a new book. So how do you grow this thing? So I think so I've showed you that what you can do to improve your book sales. The next thing, and then I showed you what to do once you have these subscribers. But now, how do we do step one, which is get the subscribers, right? So your business is 100% based around this activity called list building now. And like I said, your business is list building. Your products are the books. Don't confuse the two. Most people think their business is the books. It's not. Your products are the books. Your business is subscriber getting, is this audience building, is all of this stuff. And this is why you need to do this stuff every single day. You need to be taking actions to do that, because one of the big problems is, and this is just a fact of life, it's sort of like waking up in the morning, hopefully still breathing. You're going to have people unsubscribe or become non-responsive for whatever reason. Some people move, some people die, some people decide they just don't want to do it anymore. It happens. There's tons of different reasons. People shift jobs, the email addresses are no longer valid. It just happens. You have to learn to deal with this. And if you have a couple hundred people on your email list, or like 50 or whatever it is, you probably won't notice this. But as you start to grow, like a lot of the folks that we work with have thousands on their newsletter now. Yes, you're going to notice this factor. Like when numbers get bigger, you start to see these things more. So this is why it's a daily activity, always putting new people on so that you're always growing instead of shrinking. Here is the process I told you about. This is what prospecting looks like. This is what your business model looks like. As an author, this is your business. Is you have genre fans. It's called a sales funnel. You've probably heard of it before. Or if you've never been in a sales position, or if you've never owned your own business, you might not have heard this, because there's lots of authors who are, that taught school, that are, just working regular jobs, are just normal people, not necessarily entrepreneurs. And that's okay, but if you want to be a successful author, you are now an entrepreneur. This is the business model you need to understand if you want to be successful. You take those genre readers and you put them in the top. Now, between the red and the orange, that's the membrane, between outside to inside, okay? So you're gonna pack them in there. You're gonna present them with an offer, and I'll even show you what that offer is. And what you're gonna do at that point is you're gonna say, hey, listen, I'll give you a free thing in exchange for your email address. And it's obviously something about a book. They either say yes or no. Okay, those who say yes, now they're potential readers, because your machine is going to send them a book. Thank you so much, it's going to say. Here's your book. Thank you so much for subscribing. Now they're going to make a decision. Are they going to read this book or not? And so what happens is you can see how this funnel goes from real big to small. That's because people are jumping out of the funnel, because they're like, at any point, let them go. Okay, this is one of this really interesting things, because this is very much like dating for people that are not used to this. Because who do you chase? There's always like, there's that, that kind of, what do you call that? The cliche. Chicks dig jerks, right? Why is that? Because they play hard to get. And that's what a lot of people go after, especially when you're young, is you're going to chase that kind of thing. This is the same thing because people see like people who unsubscribe or don't respond as kind of like the jerks. Like, and you think, what, is it me? Did I say something wrong? Am I not good enough? Oh my gosh, maybe I should wear something different. Maybe I should, try to say something different. Maybe we should go out to a different restaurant or something. Stop it. You don't need to do that. You don't have to chase these people. Don't chase the ones that leave. You let them go and you delete them because they're self-selecting. But the common thing is most authors at this point get a little freaked out when people are sort of like exiting the business. That's just how it works. Okay, you can't change that process at all. You've probably heard that phrase, you can't please everybody all the time. Don't try. Just you are who you are and you present yourself to people who are more likely to like you until you get down to such a level that you have found now your readers. So you have the potential readers, you sent them the book and now they've read it. And do they like it or do they not? So it's a yes or no question at that point. Boom, now they're your fans. They're probably going to want more stuff from you. That's what it looks like. And so you take this huge thing and you whittle it down. And so at step 5, that's what you're trying to grow. But you can't just go directly into step 5. Everybody wants to be at the finish line before they start the race. That is a huge, huge, huge point I want you to understand. Most authors, almost everyone we work with has this mental block. They say, but I want to be at step 5. It's like you can't go just to step 5. You actually have to journey through this thing. You have to let these readers go through this process. This is your business. This is the business of every single author on the planet, whether they know it or not, if they want to be successful. If they are just a hobbyist, if you just want to write a couple of books and do whatever and have your parents be proud of you, that's fine. You could be a hobbyist. Please don't think I'm putting that down at all. It's a decision that you make. So if you make the decision to become, a professional author and do this for a living and put food on the table with books, get this, screenshot this, write this down. That is your business. That is exactly what it looks like. It's like a 5-step process, and it's all based around those emails. So I told you I'm going to show you how to get these people. So the best way to do it is this little thing called a giveaway. Now, you've heard about these things before, and I want to address the big elephant in the room. Most authors hate giveaways. Everybody hates giveaways, and the reason they hate giveaways is because giveaways basically suck. They really do, or they suck when you do them wrong. Let me kind of phrase that right. The thing called a giveaway is just a thing, okay? It's a tool. It's how you use the tool that makes the difference. Traditionally, the goal with a giveaway has been, okay, you set one up and then you run around the internet posting this link anywhere you can. People post it all through these freebie Facebook groups. They post them all through these freebie Twitter things. They put them on freebie websites. The problem with that is you get the worst traffic you could imagine. This is the crappiest of the crappy. These are people that don't give two craps whether you're giving away a book or whether you're giving away a toaster oven. They just want free junk. I don't know if you ever saw that show. I think it was on TLC or something like that called, it was about the couponing people that would just clip coupons and then go into stores, and it didn't matter what it was because they were getting it free. And they would spend oceans of time, and they have these epic rooms just packed full of junk they would never use because it was free. Okay, you don't need those people on your list. Please don't do that. Please don't bog yourself down with that kind of humanity. That's not going to help you as an author. What helps you as an author is when you put readers on your list. And so the problem with giveaways is not the giveaway. It's the source of the traffic. It's the source of the people you're getting to go on the giveaway. And I've worked with hundreds of authors at this point who have done giveaways before on their own or through other people, and 99% of them are, this is horrible stuff. All right, like you're lucky to get 10% of the people that get on your list to even do anything. Okay, so this is where we get quality over quantity. So remember, the giveaway's fine. There's nothing wrong with a giveaway. It's where you choose to put your giveaway. That makes all the difference. Who do you show this to? Okay? The other thing is, like for example, in Goodreads, and I love Goodreads, by the way, it's an awesome place to help get the word out. But their giveaways, they do not give you the subscriber list. They're just like Amazon. They don't give you the subscriber list. Like both of those are very powerful tools if used correctly, but they actually have an agreement that you will never speak to these people again once you have mailed the book to them. I mean, what kind of crap is that? You're trying to build your platform, not help grow Goodreads. The huge difference there. It's really huge. So anyway, that's your thing right there. Is the giveaway is the best way to do it. So this is what we do. This is how we do it, and I'll explain all the elements in this in just a second. And obviously, I mean, we worked with tons of romance authors, so you can see this is going to be coming from all sorts of areas. But yeah, we work with actually every genre of fiction outside of children's books with these things. But this is literally how we just build this stuff. And if you like nipple, there you go. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, so these are the elements that you'll see right here. So let me break down what you just saw. Those are just some screenshots of some cool ones that we're doing. You make it about your books with an extra enhancer. So it's almost sort of like you're lightly bribing them with, say, something like a gift card or maybe like a Kindle. A big one now is like that Paperwhite, because people typically don't join your giveaway for a Paperwhite if they don't read, because that's just for readers. Like a Kindle Fire is cheaper, but it's basically just a tablet. You know, it's an Android tablet, and so people could be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch Netflix on this thing, it'd be cool, instead of reading your book. So there's a decision there. You can build out like that. Autograph physical copies, like if you can give away 5 copies or something like that to a few different people, that is awesome. So the more winners you can have, the more likely it is that people are going to do this. What we really stress, we don't require it, but we very much stress this, is some sort of everybody wins prize, that it's delivered digitally so it doesn't cost you anything. And that can be, and this is another big struggle authors have, especially if they're just getting started. Like if you have 12 books or 13 books or 5 books, it's easier to give away the first book in your series or the first book in whatever it is you wrote. If you just have one book, it's a little bit more difficult to make that sacrifice. This is something I want you to understand. If you have 1, 2, 3 books, you're not at a point yet where you're going to be cash flow positive, probably for a while. The reality of publishing now is that you need to be more prolific. And so if you have one book, you can do this. If you don't want to give away your first book, what we've guided people through is give away a prequel, give away a chapter, give away some sort of short that leads people, that the logical thing is that leads them into that. And so there's lots of different ways to do that. But what you want to do is give every single person who enters your giveaway an opportunity to read your writing. Remember, this is kind of like the Chinese food place in the mall giving away free samples. They might not have the biggest line, that's typically reserved for the pizza place, or the Stephen King of the food court, if you will. But the Chinese food people have a very steady line of customers. They typically are doing just fine, and they're out there going, hey, free sample, free sample, free sample, and they do a little, gooey thing of chicken on a toothpick. And typically it tastes delicious because, sugar and meat are clearly delightful bedfellows. So there you go. So and then promote it in smart places, not these generic giveaway sites, okay? So effective giveaway promotion, obviously social media properties like your friends, your family, all that kind of stuff. Don't get spammy with it. Just be like, hey, I'm doing a giveaway. If you're so inclined, tell people about it. Your own newsletter, because then you can have people who, they'll sign up and they'll tell more of their friends about that kind of stuff. Book sites that allow you to drop links. So that is outside marketing, and make sure that it's a book sites. The place is just for people that read books. Even better are people that read your genre. There are not a lot of those. Most of them are just generalized book sites. And that's at the cusp of okay. Do not take your naked public showers outside of the Denny's and go drop these things in, giveaway forums and freebie seeker places. Please do not do this. I promise you, with every breath in my body, you will regret it, because your mailing list service will hate you. Your click-through rates will be atrocious. Everything is going to suck at the highest level that it could possibly suck. Please don't do that. And the biggest thing is you want to run this giveaway 365 days per year and promote it a little bit every day. Like, you don't need to go completely nuts with this thing. But if you do a little bit every day, remember, how do you eat an elephant? We're in this for the long haul, right? It's sort of like, give me a virtual nod here. You're an author. You're in this for the virtual haul. If your goal is to be selling books full time, to people, this is how you do it. You do little bitty baby steps every single day, and eventually you get to your goal. If you want to walk from here to, the next city over, it's going to be a long time to get there. That's why I invented cars. But my point is, if you take steps, if you start now, you'll get there. If you don't start, you won't. Period. So this is how you do it. It's little bitty steps every single time. Now, the best way to do this, honestly, the best, absolute best way, are through paid Facebook ads. And I know that Facebook does not have that viral tendency. It's not free. And what's funny is the poll that I took before we hit record on this, I was very curious. And I asked the question, who here has done Facebook ads? And almost everybody said yes. And my next question was, who did them successfully? Almost everyone said no. So I'm going to show you why they didn't work. Okay, there's very specific reasons why this stuff did not work out for you. So first, why do we need to be doing these things? Because I want to get you back into this world of paid Facebook traffic, because it is the last place on the planet right now where the small business owner, who is the author, can make a big impact for themselves, especially when you understand what I'm about to show you, when you apply it over time. 90% of your readers are spending 20 minutes or more a day on Facebook. 90% of the people who are going to love your books between now and when you die, or even after you die, because that's typically when people get famous, right? It's like, oh my word, this dead author has all these amazing things. Let us buy their back catalog. You know, Tupac had the same phenomenon. Of course, he was famous when he was alive too. But I digress. So the most important, you could target these people very specifically. So when I said outside marketing only to people that, it's the beginning of it, are people that like books that are similar to yours and that like the genres that you're writing in. You can target age, you can target all this different kind of stuff. I'm actually going to show you how to set this stuff up. Like I said, I'm going to show you how to do the things that help someone make $100,000 a month with their book sales. No kidding, but we need to cover all this other stuff or your mindset won't be right, because 100% of failure comes down to mindset. It comes down to being able to even have the framework to comprehend the gravity of the situation you're in. That's where it really comes from. And this is why most authors are struggling, because they have no business experience whatsoever. And that can be a hard place, because now you have this epic learning curve to embrace. So you could target interest, buying behaviors, gender, age, location, almost anything you can really imagine. But this is why they don't work. This is why they haven't worked for you before. And I gave this presentation actually live, standing in front of a room of people, a room of authors. And it was funny because I remember at the beginning I said there were those three kinds of people. Well, we had two of them in the back. Two of the first group in the back that were just haters on this stuff. And they were kind of being a little bit disruptive. And so I called them out when we were talking about the Facebook ads. And I was like, hey, you seem to not be too interested in this. Are you making millions of dollars with your books already? And they're like, no. It was a little bit, they kind of caught him off guard. And I was not exactly nice to him. So it was like, I guess I did ask them pleasantly, but it was the question I asked that kind of made them a little embarrassed, because the answer was no, they were not rich, famous authors at that time. And I'm like, well, have you done any of this? And like, yeah, we tried them. I'm like, okay, what happened? They're like, absolutely nothing. We lost our money. It didn't work. We didn't even sell one book. I'm like, okay. I promised them right then and there, like 300%, that the reason that happened is because they did it wrong. They went in with two things that were broken. Number one, their mindset and their expectations. Their belief in what a Facebook ad should be, or in any advertising for that matter, was so completely jacked up that they went in, it was going to fail from jump. Let me give you sort of an analogy. Would you ever change a tire with a cantaloupe? Everyone kind of goes, huh? No, you wouldn't. You would not change a tire with a cantaloupe, because that would be an exercise in futility, especially on a hot day where you're going to come away sticky and frustrated and probably just hating everything about, cantaloupes and tires at that point. But if you think about that, like once you realize, wait a minute, you can't do that because those two things don't go together, then you suddenly realize that was an exercise in futility before you even knew it was an exercise in futility. So that's what's happening right now, is almost every author is trying to change a tire with a cantaloupe. And it's just ending in misery for everybody. So when they're set up incorrectly, like when people do the wrong kind of ad, there's a lot of different ads. I'll show you the ones. Actually, I literally will show you there's two that you should be focusing on. Just two. There's only two. Everything else can kind of be like, I'll do that later. Maybe, if you want to. Once you have like money flying out of your ears, you can go and experiment with more stuff. But I'll show you the two things to test first. They also don't work when you don't give them time. Almost everybody that I've heard puts their money in for a day or 2 days or something like that, runs them, and it's like, ooh, what happened? Nothing happened, because it takes a while What's happening in the background of your Facebook ads is Facebook has something called an algorithm. And what they're doing is they're sniffing out the people that are more likely to click your ad or buy your thing or subscribe to your stuff and all those different kinds of things. And you need to be aware of this and give it time to work. It's not an instantaneous fix. And there's also the thing where it's like it typically won't work without testing. Testing is extremely important. You can test images, you can test subject lines, you could test the copy of your ads, you could test the links, you could test everything. All these different aspects need to be tested. And what happens is, as you do these testing, also the targeting, that is massive. The targeting is super, super huge, and I don't have a bullet point for that, but I should. You need to test the targeting also. But that's going to be a huge one. Like, who are you running these ads to? Because a lot of people are like, ooh, more is better. And they go and they broadcast this stuff out to, like, you know, the entirety of Facebook. That's a tire with a cantaloupe situation right there, because there's no way you're going to get in front of those people. You need to find the exact right people, all right? So how much does this cost to do? Because there are horror stories out there, and I want to protect you as much as possible from these things. How to keep your daily spending under control. You want to make sure, obviously, that you're not bidding more than you can. And I'll show you how to do that. I'll actually set up an ad live in just a minute here, and you can see how this stuff works. Do not worry about your cost per lead. Do not worry about your cost per click. All right, that is a huge, huge, huge thing. Most authors are absolutely hyper-focused on cost per click. They're like, why would I spend this much on a click if I can get blah, 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 blah. Okay, I get it. Here's the reality. The market is rapidly changing. It was so funny when I was doing that podcast with Simon. He said that, well, you know, Facebook ads weren't even a blip on my radar until like 2 years ago. I'm like, dude, I've been doing ads since 2008. Facebook ads specifically since 2008. Authors are so late to the party with this that the opportunity to become, you know, for inexpensive ads that actually make sense, it's almost over. Okay, so you have a very short window of time here before, because there's so many people that are using Facebook now as the advertising platform because it is the best advertising platform in the world. It literally is. And the biggest problem, like I said, is that there's so many advertisers flooding into the market right now, including authors, that it's driving up the prices. You know, so there's more advertisers than there is inventory. And when you have a supply and demand problem, the costs go up. When there's more demand than there is supply, the costs go up, and it makes it more difficult. So you have to be aware of this, that the stuff I'm showing you tonight, this is why I want you to be that third kind of person and implement immediately, because you're running out of time. I don't want to be too scary, but it's also true. I promised you I wouldn't sugarcoat anything tonight. Author people, you are so late to the game, it's almost embarrassing. This is where you need to be. You want to look at your cost per lead. What is it costing you to get per lead? Like if you were outside of actual reader getting, $1 to $3 would be pretty normal in that kind of arena. Inside publishing, 60 cents or less is great. Anywhere 35 to 50 cents, if you can nail that, is pretty cool. And that's actually gone up dramatically in the past 6 months for readers and stuff like that, because I've been doing this presentation a while, obviously. But there's a lot of people trying to do it, and it's driving up the cost. And so you need to get in there now and start doing this and doing it correctly, or you're going to be running into a lot of problems. Now, obviously, I want to touch on this just for a brief moment, and then I'll show you how to build these things. A click and a lead. I had an author write in. She asked me when we were doing this stuff, and she asked, "Well, what are you getting these leads for?" And I said about 17 cents, and that was at that particular moment. And she's like, "Well, that's really disappointing. I'm getting clicks for 16. I thought you could do better than me." I said, "Whoa, hold on there. Let me explain the difference between a click and a lead. If you're on your smartphone, you're kind of scrolling through your news feed, and you like accidentally sort of touch something, and it opens up like your browser, and suddenly you're reading an article, and you're like, oh, I meant to jump past that. Well, that could be a click. That's an accidental thing, or a click could be intentional. But a click is not really a committed gesture. It's just something. It's like you can get cheap clicks anywhere. It's no problem. A lead, on the other hand, and this is how I do leads. A lead is somebody who sees the photo or the ad, they read the description, they find the link, they click the link, they land on the page, they read the page, they scroll down the page, they click the drop-down menu to enter, select an answer, verify that they're human, which can be clicking a box and then selecting a group of pictures, and then they enter their email, and then they submit the form. So do you see how intentional that is? Like, you can't just like, oops, I tripped and I clicked something. No, you actually have to really work to become a subscriber. in this particular case, and I highly recommend you do this. Most authors right now are at the beginning of understanding this list building thing, and there's sort of a freak out that happens. Well, if you put that many obstacles in front of someone, won't you get less subscribers? Yes, you will, because what you're doing is you're weeding out the people that aren't committed enough to even make that just baseline non-financial transaction. They're probably not going to be your readers anyway. So it's okay. You didn't want them in the first place, so why would you even bother having them? Yes, it lowers your conversions, but that's the point, is you want the good people, the committed people, the people that want what you have and that are more likely to make it from, in that funnel I showed you, from 1 down to 5. So it's deliberate effort versus accidental scrolling. So here's how when you set up Facebook ads, this is what you want to do. You must run them for a minimum of 5 days before you know it's working. After 5 days, you can kind of pull them. So it depends on your budget that you're running per ad, per test. Give it about 5 days. Now, quick caveat, there can be situations where it's absolutely not working. Like your cost per lead's like $6 or something ridiculous. Just kill that. It's not going to go lower anytime soon, or maybe it will, but it won't get low enough. So if after 2 days it's just completely out of control, chop it off at the knees and try a different test. Look to spend about $10 to $15 in your budget per test before you really know what's going on with that ad, because like I said, it takes time. Facebook's working in the background to optimize, to get the best stuff for you, and that takes a little bit, especially if you're new. With us, we can spend anywhere from like $600 to $3,200 in a day on this stuff through various ecosystems. And so Facebook has a pretty good idea of what we're looking for, which is why we're able to be a lot more consistent with these things, with the targeting and all this other stuff. So that's something to think about, is as you do more of this, it gets better for you. But you have to start doing it in order to get better at it. Same thing with your books, same thing with your subscribers. Your winner is out there. You just have to believe in this stuff. So let's go to Facebook, all right? Super, super excited. I'm going to show you how to set up some ads. Give me just a second here. All right. Really quickly, I'm looking here. Okay, you can see that? You can see it? Okay, good. Here's what we're going to do. So let's really quickly, and I'll just look over here at, I love vampire novels. That's one of my favorite ones to use. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of different ways to do these things. Obviously, we've already gone over on time, but I'm going to show you how to, this is something called an engagement ad, or like a boosted post. It is it's a kind of advertisement that focuses on getting engagement for something. And I want to show you something. It's not just like a normal thing where you click it and you jump over to the page. You actually have to find the link. So we put the link in the description right here. And then what happens is they click over to it and they're going to jump into the actual giveaway. And sorry, it's running a little slowly right now just because we're on the internet and this is how it works. So yeah, so there you go. That's what this kind of thing looks like here. And so I'll show you how to set this stuff up. In fact, let's run over to Amazon really quickly, because we're going to need that too. So I'll open up that in a new tab and let it cook for a second. Let me grab her name. Cool. All right. So in your ads manager, and this is just be, ads.facebook.com or business.facebook.com. You have to set this up. We're not going to get into the whole setup of the account. It's very, very simple. You can actually just Google how do you set up Facebook ads if you need that. It's right there. So there's two things. I told you I'd show you the two things. Boosted post, that's it, and send people to your website. Those are pretty much everything else, ignore it right now, because it's not necessarily going to help you. If you're doing an event, that's a webinar for a different time. Like, how do you promote a local book signing? Super awesome, super easy to do it on this stuff. But today, we're just going to focus on building your subscriber base and things like that. What's cool is it also builds your fan base, because people end up clicking like on your page too. So we're going to go boost your post. We're not doing click to websites just now, but those are the two you want to focus on. And so we're going to do API ILVN, because we want the ecosystem giveaway, if I can spell it. And then her name was, did I grab the wrong thing? Oh, there we go. Author, Dina. Dina? Let's get rid of that. I just connect it like that, and EX. All right, now, nobody really talks about this, and I don't know why, but what you want to do, and this is sort of like a higher level tactic, but it's so basic that you should be doing it right off the bat. Most people don't do this. You want a predictable naming strategy. So when you go into your ads account, you can look very quickly and see what's working. All right, there we go. And then you click on that next one there. All right, so they have all these different lookalike audiences here that I don't need. So let me very quickly explain something. What I just deleted, because I'm going to bring it back in just a second, custom audiences. The reason this is first is because in 2014 alone, I think I spent, was it $60 some odd thousand building fan bases of people of genre readers who were not just fans of the genre or a particular author, but they would not only buy the book, they'd turn around and spend $25, $30, $50, $200 on fan merch, on like t-shirts and sweatshirts and necklaces and coffee mugs and like all this kind of stuff. Then what Facebook allows you to do is upload these people in here and say, go find me people that are just like them. So they have certain data points. And after you have a few hundred to a few thousand of these people that have bought these things, you can then create these what's called lookalike audiences. And so instead of going, right now, where are we here? Boom. Yeah, 74 million people. Actually, let's hit all. I don't know why they have all these crazy settings in here. Yeah, 137 million people. That's way too wide. That's too broad. Like, this is not outside your bubble. This is outside of the universe. So what you want to be able to do is build custom audiences like this. You can even upload your newsletter subscribers and say, hey, give me some new people like this. So you could do a lot of stuff there. In this particular sense, let's go and find out who we're actually working with. Dina Hayes. Let's find out what's happening here. Which one was it? Let me look at this. It's that one right there. All right, book 1. Seems it's free on Kindle, which is super cool. All right, so yeah, mystery, thriller, suspense, paranormal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look for folks who are going to be more likely to like them. Pippa da Costa. Love that name. All right. Tom Harper, J.D. Horn, Lindsay Sands. Cool. All right, let me take a quick look here and see what else let me get a little more info. Fugitive, hiding among civilians. There we go. Paranormal, urban fantasy, romance. Perfect. That's all we need to know. So all we know now is that this is a paranormal romance. And also the other thing to keep in mind is that this is not categorized correctly. It's been published since 2014, but this is not in the paranormal romance thread right here. So what would happen is, and I would recommend, so if you're one of these people, or if you're watching, or if Dina, I'm saying that right, Dina Hayes, if you're watching right now, you're going to want to go in here and check your categories and make sure that you're categorized in paranormal romance, because right now you're in the wrong kind of paranormal, so you're not going to get as many readers as you might like. And so that's something to keep in mind, is make sure your categories are right. So I could tell you, because we've been working with paranormal romance pretty much since 2011, is that paranormal romance is the best buyers live 25 to 64. And so we're just going to go in there and we're going to try to find these people. I'm going to go lookalike, let's say these are the people so we're starting with an audience of 2 million people who buy books at $2.99 or more. So that gives us 1.3 million people to start with right here. Detailed targeting, we could do paranormal romance, we could do urban fantasy, because both of those things, as you see here, so we're going, let me jump back here real quick, paranormal or urban fantasy romance. Bye-bye. Let's get back to this then. And then what you could do is you could put in, so what that did was that took us down from 2 million to 86,000 people. Lindsay Sands, Laura Adrian, Lyra Sion, is it Ione or Ione? I don't know. Kim Harrison, Laura Adrian, Nalini. Met her, actually. She's a very nice lady. Jean Frost, Patricia Briggs. So these are all like paranormal romance authors. And the reason I'm able to go through this so quickly, just for time's sake, is because I'm pretty familiar with this genre. And so the other way to do it, if you're not, is you look at the also bots and see if you can possibly copy and paste names and things like that out of there. So what you do is you go to the author page, go to the also bots, and this is why I was kind of hot and heavy on this thing right here, is because Stephen King is probably not a paranormal romance author. You know what I mean? totally a paranormal author, but this one's hard. So, is this the Einstein prophecy? Is that the kind of book that's going to go with hers? I don't think it will. I mean, let's see if we can even target them. Yeah, right now we can't even target that person. So some people you can target, some people you can't. Now this is a big one, daily budget versus lifetime. I always do daily. So let's go like $5 or something like that. You can set an end date if you want to cap it. So we'll be spending no more than $35 a week. Super awesome. And then what I do is I name this ad set. So I go LA 299 buyers and then para row authors. And then female 25 to 64. Okay? Boom. Now we're going to do continue. And we want to look at some pages. We're on I Love Vampire Novels. All right. So timeline photos are not what I want. Boom. Remove placement. So what that just told me was that we cannot advertise on Instagram. I'm completely fine with that. I actually don't want to advertise on Instagram right now, at least not in this particular thing. Now, the big one here is you want to track all conversions from your Facebook pixel. Facebook used to have the ability to make different pixels for different things. They have now migrated everything to a single pixel. What is a pixel, you ask? What that is a tiny little thing that goes on the thank you page for whatever you're doing, and it fires every single time somebody jumps through, and it says, so if somebody subscribes to your giveaway, they go through here, they read all this stuff, they do the answer, blah, 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 blah. They're not a robot. They put in the thing. They hit, they pick the pictures. Like I said, you have to be intentional on this. If you're not, so pick everything with a storefront. I think that's a storefront. I think that's a storefront. I think that's a storefront. Verify. Cool. I'm not a robot. Look at that. I did well. So they do that. They put in their email. They hit when they hit the next page after they've done that, the pixel fires and it says, "You got one." And then what you do is you hit place order. Boom, you're done. That is called an engagement ad. Okay? Now what you need to do here is so here the various tests on this are going to be style of ad. You can try to boost a post, or you can try to do click to websites. You can even do a boosted click to website post. You want to test your targeting. You want to test your budgets. You want to test your images. You want to test everything. And so this is just something that we initially created, and that as stuff goes on, maybe we'll change this. Maybe we'll run something different. We're going to see. You have to see if it works first. What you have to understand is 99.9% of this stuff does not work the first time you try it. So you have to be prepared going in for like a 99.999% failure rate with these things. And I know that sounds really crappy, but that's advertising. That's why it didn't work. Is you didn't give it time, didn't test it, and you run it long enough. I mean, you have to test these things. Pictures do way better. Some pictures do better than others. Anyway, so there you go. That's what you want to be doing when you do this stuff. And like I said, this is called a boosted post. It is Facebook Marketing 101. You cannot get any more zygote level than this. Okay, there's also something, if you want to, there's something called Audience Insights, which you can look into and you can find more people. So if you have a fan page, if you have enough fans on that, Facebook's going to have enough data to be able to tell what other pages your fans like. So you could start there and see if you can target some of the pages that your fans like, some additional ones like that. And then the goal here is to build up some lookalike audiences so that you can get out there and start, using your own data. And there's people who have done that very successfully. That takes time. You're going to need about 1,000 subscribers before you do that. So expect to spend several $100s before you get there. Okay, so if you're just starting, or if you've tried and failed and you haven't been doing this regularly, you are going to spend a lot of money to get there, okay? And that money will not come back. So that is how advertising works. Now, let's get back into this. Boom. Let's recap this very quickly, okay? 100% of your efforts, aside from writing more books, need to be spent on building your subscriber base. You want to do that every single day. You want to the tool you're going to use for that is a giveaway with an everybody wins function, because the goal of this, remember, is to present every single person that comes through this thing with something that represents your best writing. So if you have one book, fine. Give them a short, give them a chapter, give them something. If you're on Kindle Unlimited, give them like, I think it's 20%, and check the terms of service with this. You can give them 20% of your book. You could do that, or you could do something that's not in the Kindle Unlimited program, like a short or a prequel or something. You need to write every single day, okay? So don't be chintzy with your words. Get people to love you. This is how you're going to stand above the noise. You want to run paid Facebook ads to your giveaway to build your subscriber base, and you run those ads to people that actually like buying books and reading in your genre. Do not do Facebook at large. That will not help you. All right, run each ad 5 to 7 days. That's each test. So when you're testing different targeting, run it for 5 to 7 days. When you're testing different images, run each image about 5 to 7 days. Expected per my brain just went per test. You're going to spend about $10 to $15 before stopping it. You have to keep testing. Find new targets. Find all these things. They are out there. Kill the losers, scale the winners. That's how this game works. This is how targeted traffic works. Authors typically have a very difficult time jumping between marketer hat and writer hat, because what ends up happening is you're thinking about the marketing while you're writing, and while you're writing, or when you're marketing, you're thinking about your writing. You're like, oh man, I wish I was writing. So you're going to spend money to learn how to do this, but this is the best way to do it yourself. If you're going to DIY this whole thing, that you can absolutely do that. So that's how to do it. That's Facebook Marketing 101. I hope that made a lot of sense to you. And it will take time. It will take you money to learn how to do this stuff. So watch out, because there's a lot of stuff here. There's some pitfalls. Facebook's terms of service can change all the time. You need to keep just adjusting your ads, because what will happen is you'll hit one that works. It'll work for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and then it'll stop working. And so you need to learn what to do next. So we could go into that stuff hopefully in a later webinar. But what do you do next on that kind of stuff? There are techniques and tactics that you can use. It can be difficult to run direct to sale books, because Facebook is not really hot and heavy on those things. In fact, they're starting to get a little on just trying to sell books directly through Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes or things like that. But test. Expect to fail, because that's how it works. You get in there, you fail faster. That's a great phrase to do this. Fail faster. You're going to spend money learning how to do this. The learning curve has a cost. Think about this. People go to college to learn things. You spend tens of thousands of dollars a year to go to college, to be in debt so you can get a job that doesn't pay you enough to barely make the bills. This is not that. This is you investing in your own infrastructure. Now, you can do this yourself. I've given you all the tools you need to do this yourself. Or you could just let us do all this stuff for you, because we've been doing this for a long, long time for a lot of authors. This is why Author Platform Rocket was developed, is to take this pain away from you. Because like I told you tonight, I did not sugarcoat anything. This is the business you're in as an author. You build your subscribers, you write your books. We cannot help you write the books for you. We cannot take that away from you. We can take the marketing away from you. Author Platform Rocket is the first of its kind ever done for you platform building specific author marketing company. To date, just in the past, from November 15th to July 10th, when we did a fast little look, we've collected over 611,000 subscribers for authors since we started doing this. We have absolutely knocked this thing out of the park to date, and hey, life is life. I can't say we're going to run it forever, but we've had a 100% success rate with every single author that we've had in here being able to deliver exactly what we tell them that we're going to deliver. This is what a lot of these things look like. Most authors, before they come to us, get maybe 5 to, at the best, 50 subscribers a month. We're bringing in 100 to 200, depending on what program, depending on the ads that you're doing, and I'll show all that to you in a second. Most of our people who have been doing this for any length of time have thousands of new subscribers. And I'll show you what the responsive rate is. So these are just a couple of them. You can see, people give away Kindles, gift cards, all this cool stuff. But it's getting to be thousands and thousands of subscribers that we're doing. Travis, awesome dude. This guy's super cool. He did this stuff before. But he took a while to actually email these people. He wrote us back. He's like, I have to thank you. Pouring in from a list of 1,600 people. I didn't get this kind of thank you response from anything else I've done with my other lists, totaling over 15,000. So Travis is one of those tragic people who did a bunch of crappy giveaways and he's getting crappy results from his list because he targeted incorrectly. Our target, the reason why this stuff is working, the reason why he's getting thank you responses, the reason why the people on his list actually are excited to hear from him is because they're readers. They like this stuff. That's why we do this stuff for you, so you don't have to sit there and figure it all out. We know what the targeting is already. We know how to run the ads. We're running the tests. We're doing all the tests. We're creating all the graphics, launching the ads, and monitoring the crap out of this stuff so you don't even have to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So you don't have to lose money learning. I did that years ago. I already lost my money learning. So he said, good job on cultivating an awesome audience. When it's all said and done, I suspect will be the highest open click rate I've ever had in an email. And then he kind of just goes on with all this other stuff here. My favorite, actually, my only gripe is that I wish you'd started doing this a year ago. And he's right. We probably should have started doing this a year ago because authors have been asking for this forever. So what do we do for authors? Like I said, we are the only service in existence that will do the actual platform marketing for you. So everything that I've showed you tonight, we will build the most vital aspect of your business for you. We will fill that front part of the sales funnel so that you can then get them down and have those readers and have those fans and build that stuff over time. Every single day, we are out there building your subscribers for you. We focus on growing your subscriber base via paid Facebook ads. So we use boosted posts. We use click-to-website ads. We use different lead generation ads. We use a ton of different techniques all the time to be able to do that. So we're out there learning how to do these ads and running the stuff and keeping on top of how Facebook is changing and changing those marketing tactics to make sure you're still getting the right people. So it's an ongoing, evergreen, perpetual service, and we push targeted reader traffic and grow your email list every single day. We create all of the graphics for this. You don't have to do a single thing. Just give us the cover of the book or the short of the story or whatever it is that you want. We already go out and do this. We build everything that you saw. We create an entire promotional graphic thing for you. Basically, if you want to mail in your newsletter, we got that. If you want to do Pinterest, we do Pinterest. We do Twitter. We do Facebook, everything like that. So it's all right there. We create all that stuff. You don't even have to deal with it. We create, set up, manage the paid Facebook ads. We do 100% of the ads. You do not need to set up any accounts. You don't need to do anything. We literally do this for you. Every webinar I do on this, I constantly get the question, so do I have to set up my own giveaway? No, you don't. We build the giveaway for you. We host everything. We do everything. The goal here is to not force you to do any marketing at all. In fact, we prefer it when the authors stay out of it because we know how to do the marketing. You know how to write the books. This is why we do these things. So we monitor, we adjust the settings, we keep your subscribers on budget, we keep it flowing on a monthly basis, we kill the losers, scale the winners, we do all the testing. I already showed you all that kind of stuff, so you don't even have to think about it. We also use our personal data. So like I said, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars building these lookalike audiences based on hyper-responsive fans that love books, that don't just love the books, but also spend tons and tons of money on merchandise. So we use that stuff to your benefit. We use our ecosystems to your benefit because as we're growing your giveaways in your platform, our platforms are growing also. We also then dump that stuff right back into promoting you. So this is a very reciprocal, symbiotic, awesome sauce-filled relationship. We do not target with the paid traffic outside of the United States. Now, sometimes people get international folks on their giveaway. That can't be helped simply because www stands for World Wide Web. Once it's out there, there's a viral response that comes from Twitter, that comes from Facebook. People share it with their friends and stuff. That it can usually get about a 10% to 15% bump in subscriber base. And what's cool about that is that's more readers, but sometimes they're outside of the country, but we don't specifically pay for those. We don't target those guys, so the money is definitely well spent. So what can you expect? The Author Elite program, it is a budget program. It is step one in what we do, and we really request that no matter what budget you have, you start here, get a feel for this. Let's see how it does. Make sure, so far we haven't had anybody not like it, so you can then scale your advertising up as you go. But you can realistically expect about 115 to 225, and I know it says 200, but it's between 115 and 225 subscribers per month on your giveaway in your fiction genres. The only genre we do not work with right now are children's books, okay? Because we like to target people who have credit cards. That's just kind of our thing. Large ads budgets are available by request. let us know. We can talk about it. We actually have a team that will guide you through this whole thing. But everybody starts out at the elite level, where you could expect 150 to 225 subscribers per month. At higher ad budgets, we have some folks who are doing 800 to 1,000 subscribers a month and beyond. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that is available after. You get real readers. Our open rates have traditionally run anywhere from 38% to 89.1%. We have higher open rates than a lot of authors do on their organic subscriber lists in most cases, or not in most, but in a lot of cases. But our industry average for the publishing industry in terms of people opening emails is about 20 to 23%. We're killing it on that. We are absolutely killing it on this, pretty much across the board. The only time we've had anybody not get amazing results is if they did it wrong. And we have a training session for you to help you not do that. We literally hold your hand through this entire process. And I was saying at the beginning of this, we don't just deliver you subscribers. We show you what to do with them once you have it. So it's not enough to just give you the people. We're going to give you techniques and tactics on how to talk to them and on all that kind of stuff. Now, how much is this? Obviously, that's the huge question. Normal agencies, if you were just to go out and hire an ad agency, it would be about 10 grand a month. They're kind of ridiculous, like those awesome New York firms that a lot of the major publishers work for. Then you have to have the cost of ads. Obviously, that's completely unattainable. The goal here was to create a system that could be extremely affordable to everybody, even fiction authors that are just beginning to get off the ground. So it's not a bank-breaking kind of thing. The Elite Budget program is $97 a month, and that includes the cost of your ads. If you want to add on more advertising, you absolutely can. We do offer that, but it is optional. So if you just want to go in at the Author Elite Budget program, that's less than the cost of like a foo-foo cup of coffee a day. Everybody can afford that if you want to. That is extremely affordable. We take care of the advertisement right out of that. If that's what you're going for. So with the Elite Budget, there it is. Yeah, 125 to 215 subscribers per month, like clockwork. These subscribers, then we show you how to engage with them, how to turn them into actual readers, what to do with them. So we're going to show you how to create that funnel. So you put them in the top. They've already committed. When we get them to you, they've already said, yes, I want to get your books. I want to hear more about this stuff. And so now they've already passed through stage 1. And so you enter in at stage 2, so you don't have to put them back through there. So we've done that much, and we'll show you how to take them through. We'll actually show you how to set up automated systems. So this is not a manual process. What we're not doing here is creating more work for you. What we do in this training program that we offer on top of this, there's no extra cost for the training or the support or anything like that. It's completely free once you're a member of Author Platform Rocket. Every Tuesday right now, we're doing a live webinar. If you're watching this on a replay and it's after they're finished, we actually, once you're a subscriber, we're gonna give you the page where you can watch the replays, and then we're doing follow-up webinars where you can do questions and things like that. So you can submit your questions ahead of time, and then we'll have a conversation about that stuff so we can help you do these things. But we literally take you through the entire thing. We show you what services to use, how to set this stuff up, what to say, when to say it, and then you customize that to your own thing. So we're going to give you the best practices so that you have the most likely chance of turning these people into fans and book buyers. And so the longer you're in the program, the more people you get. The more people you get, the more people turn into readers. The more people that turn into readers, the more people end up buying your books. And you can really then, when you start putting out more, launch these books really hardcore. So it's a phenomenally effective program. I've been so excited to be part of this. We have knocked it out of the park for every author that we've had in here. So what to expect? So after you join, and I'll give you the link to do that in just a second, you're going to be redirected to an intake form. Please fill that thing out as soon as possible. That's going to help us, because it's going to take us, once we get that intake form, we're going to start building your giveaway. And in most cases, we're going to be asking you some questions about some of the prizes. We want to make this as affordable as possible for you, because these things reset every 90 days. So this is a giveaway that runs 365 days a year. Every 90 days, it resets so that you pay out the prizes. So a lot of folks are asked, what are the additional costs with the program? That's it. You have the 97. If you choose, you could have more advertising on top of that, and then the prizes. So books, gift cards, whatever it is that you're going to give away, and that's every 3 months. So that cost is spread out over time. This has been ridiculously effective for everybody that's been a part of this program. No one's really been said, wow, that's because we help you with this. We really do. We keep the costs definitely down so that you can grow, especially if you're not in a position to be making a ton of money off your books just yet. So once we receive that form, we're going to verify the prizes. We're going to go through, if we have questions, we're going to make some changes, make sure that we get the graphics right. We're going to give you the graphics, be like, hey, you like these? Cool, awesome. Then we'll get the targeting, and then we'll start running your giveaway. So it takes about 30 days to do that, and the reason we do that is because it takes a lot of time to communicate with you and build this thing out, and also we have a lot of authors joining this program all times. If after you join up, you do not see the intake form, please email your receipt. Forward the receipt you get from PayPal to sponsorships@authorplatformrocket.com, and we will send you the intake form. It's super simple. We're here to take care of you. Do not contact us through PayPal for the love of all that's holy. That will slow down the process like you wouldn't believe. It's ridiculous. We've had a tiny handful of authors do that, but I want to just bring that up now. We had someone who bought it, for some reason it didn't redirect them, and so they filed a dispute with PayPal, and I read it, and they're like, oh, please send me the intake form. I'm like, just email. That's why we gave you the email, for the love. Don't do that, because if you go through PayPal, it can literally take days, whereas with this, it could take hours or minutes. So please do it like that. So how do you join? You go to authorplatformrocket.com/elite, and you can sign up for the Elite Budget Program that is the $97 a month. It includes the ads and the free training and ongoing support for this stuff. So we're literally going to not only give you the people you need to help build your author career, but we're going to take you by the hand and show you how to get, weed them out and turn them into that level 5 awesome, the stage 5 reader clinger who loves you and buys everything that you do. That's what we do. And if you need help, if you don't see that intake form after you have sent it out, after you've joined up, go forward your PayPal receipt to sponsorships@authorplatformrocket.com. And now we will do a couple of questions, which is awesome because there's always questions. Let's see here. The first one is that this came through a little bit earlier, and I did address it, but I want to address it again. Do we literally do everything? Do we, as an author, do you have to do anything to be in this program? No. Once you join up, we will build the giveaway. We're going to do the promotion for you, and we literally every 30 days send you an export of your new subscribers. So that's how it works. You don't need to market this. We don't need you to promote it. We will take care of this. We run paid Facebook traffic. The way we're able to do this is we use a group buy method because we're able to combine the budgets from different authors. We do it genre by genre so that it's far more effective, so that we're targeting the right readers. And it's just been very, very powerful to be able to do that with this. And yes, James, if you want to do more, if you want to have a bigger budget, you can absolutely include more. You can totally do that. We have $3 a day, $5 a day. And then if you want more than that, then we'll have to have a conversation. But we've gone all the way up to, I think one of them was $40 a day. But we'll definitely need to do a little bit of email chattering with that before we get up to that kind of level, because that's a big commitment. We want to make sure that everybody's on board with it. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, all right. This is a good one. Karen's asking, is there a commitment with this? Are we locked in for any length of time? Can we try it for a month, or what's the deal with that? Here's the deal with that. In fact, you can read all this on the page. There is no contract with this whatsoever. You can leave anytime you want to. Do not expect to get a huge result out of this if you just do it for a month. I highly recommend that you make the mental commitment to do this for at least 2 cycles. Remember, the first 30 days is just setting this thing up. We're going to build it. It's going to be awesome. Then we launch it. Yay. We start sending you people. You're going to have to learn how to communicate with these people. This is a process, remember. This is something where you are building your subscriber base over time, and we're doing it in an affordable way so that you can continue to grow your business. the re it's an interesting kind of like, how do you even answer that question? Really, it's a great question. It really is. But it's very much in the vein of, if you just want to dip your toe in and then jump back out, it's kind of the same thing that's going to happen if you were running your own Facebook ads and try like a $5 voucher or a $50 voucher or something. You're probably not going to get the best results that you were hoping for. This is a long-term thing. The majority of the people who we're working with have been with us for a long time. That's why we've been able to hand out over 611,000 subscribers to this date, is because people stick around in the program. They really do, because it works and they like it. I mean, you can absolutely bounce. If something happens, you can cancel. It's okay. We're not going to yell at you. But as a career move, it might not be the best thing to do. So please, we just highly recommend and make the commitment to run this for at least a couple of resets before you make a decision on this, because across the board, the authors we're working with have been just absolutely excited with the results on this kind of thing. So I don't think it'll be any different for you. I'm pretty excited about this. Oh, great question. I should have brought this up. We do not yet work with nonfiction. We've actually we've had a few nonfiction authors come through and we had to cancel them and give them back their money because we don't work with nonfiction yet. That's just, we will, yes, at a later date. Right now, we're absolutely focused on fiction because nothing like this exists out there for fiction authors. We've reinvested a spectacular volume of money in building the infrastructure to help support your businesses and help grow your business. We actually have a lot of cool stuff coming out too that you're going to totally love. But and we want to be able to deliver to you guys the best stuff humanly possible, as you know, basically like clockwork. In fact, we over deliver a lot of times, which has been a really fun thing to be able to boast. But yeah, only fiction for now. And out of fiction, the one genre we do not work with are children's books. At this time, I'm not going to say it's actually not on board right now to do that, because children's books and children's books marketing is a very strange thing. It involves a lot of media and different kinds of things that you can't just go out there and run a Facebook ad and expect to become a famous children's book author. So unfortunately, that's not a model that's not a genre we're doing right now. But pretty much everything else, we cater to every kind of romance you can imagine. The erotic stuff, and just the normal romance stuff, and everything in between, paranormal, urban fantasy. That's actually where we started. I mean, we cut our teeth with those people, because I had about 2,000 paranormal romance authors because of I Love Vampire Novels when we first began this. And I said, hey guys, you want to try it? And they were like, yay! And almost all of them are still with us. It's really cool. Science fiction, mystery, fantasy, horror. What else? Science fiction, mystery, fantasy. I mean, basically everything. There's so many different genres out there that it's almost easier for me just to tell you we just don't do children's books or nonfiction right now. It's easier to say. So if you're part of fiction and it's some random, weird, obscure thing, don't worry about it. We absolutely can't help you. We'll tell you that. We really will. I think there was one instance where that happened. It was some random holiday book that didn't make any sense, and I'm like, we don't have a thing for this. We can't, because part of what we do is we're growing our ecosystem while we're building these things, and we're leveraging our ecosystems to promote you. So that's why we're able to consistently deliver between 115 and 225 subscribers on the Elite Budget program consistently, like that for everybody. So it's super cool. I'm really excited. Yeah, awesome. Dave, good. Glad to have you on board. Thank you for joining. So anyway, let's see what else we have. Let me go through these things. I saw a couple popping up here. Boom, 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 boom. Do we work with authors outside of the United States? Yes, absolutely. As long as you're selling in the United States. It would not make sense if you're from India and you're only selling in India, because we don't right now. Like I said, we only target our ads to people in the United States. So if you're selling on Amazon, that's great. Here's a really good one. If I'm a Kindle Unlimited author, so if I'm in the Select program and I want to, for some reason this one's hard to read, can I give away my first book if it's in if I'm exclusive to Amazon? The answer is yes, you can. Here's a few caveats for that. First of all, you can run your free days and then promote it to your subscribers. I actually don't recommend that as much. It is a workaround. What I'd rather see you do, and obviously the terms of service for Amazon are just dynamic as all get out. What I recommend and what we recommend, we actually have a big old frequently asked question thing on this, is run like 20, if you're going to do that, run the 20% of your book that's currently legal with them to give away. Give them a free, we have some authors who do a free chapter. I think it's better to write a short and do it quick. Just give yourself like a 5-day deadline and just write a short. And you could totally do that. That's perfectly reasonable. Prequel or something that hooks them into the genre, and put a cover on it, and we could use that. Remember, you have 30 days before the giveaway goes live, so you could literally join today, and I actually recommend doing that. Join today, if you need to do this, write your short, because it doesn't have to be that long, and publish it, get that done. You now have a deadline. You have a reason to move your butt, and in almost every sense of the word, humans do better when they have deadlines. So give yourself a deadline. That's your deadline if you don't have that thing out there yet. Here's another good one. My books are with a publisher. We're launching them next month. We're launching my first one next month. Can I use your program? Absolutely, totally. As these things come out, if your publisher says it's cool to give away that first book, I haven't seen that yet. Once again, this would be one of those things where do a short or do a chapter or do a prequel kind of thing, right? Use that month. But if your books are about to come out and you want to have it's called a follow-up sequence. It's one of the things that we're teaching you in this is to use a follow-up sequence to sell your back catalog. If you don't have a back catalog, to build engagement while you're launching your next book. Let's see here. Oh, great question. I'm launching my next book, and I want to have a lot of subscribers for it when we go live. Is this the right service for me? Yes and no. Here's why. This service, if you want to literally just spend your time writing instead of focusing on advertising, this is what you want to be doing. This is absolutely the thing that you need to be doing. But it is not a book launch service. So we're not a blog tour company. We are not a cover reveal company. We are not the kind of, a Facebook party takeover thing, okay? Because that stuff doesn't really help you that much unless you're doing it if you're doing inside marketing with those tactics, it can really be cool. What we are is we are a business building company for fiction authors. And so this means that over the course of time, we are going to grow your business. This is not a one-hit fix, because that doesn't exist. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? Please hear me on this. This is not something where if you sign up with us 5 days later, we're going to change your life, okay? The entire focus of this webinar is to kind of get your head in the game with that this author business takes a while. It's one foot in front of the other. If you want to get to your destination, you have to take steps every single day. There are 2 steps that you need to take to be a successful author. You have to write books, you have to put words on the page every single day, and you have to build your email list every single day. Now, we can't do the writing for you, but we can build your email list for you. So 50% of your business you can outsource to us now. That's what this business is. That's what we do for you, is we remove that problem so that you don't have to deal with it every single day. Once a month we send you these subscribers, and you upload them into your autoresponder service. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. We teach you. You upload that. You send them your system does what it does. The machines take care of it from there. It's literally like 14 seconds a month that you now spend on building your business, instead of hours every day, running around like a headless chicken trying to get free sites on the internet to belch up enough traffic to even matter to you. And so the big question that I get a lot is cost. So for $97 a month, there's people who are like, well, I could probably get cheaper subscribers. And you know what? Maybe you can, but there's 2 problems with that. Number one is you're not placing any value on your time. You can run Facebook ads, but it's going to take time pretty much every day to sit there and prune those. I know this because we have a staff. They do that. I get to see what that costs because I'm the guy that pays the bills. That's something that if you don't value your time at all, then yeah, absolutely. By all means do that. There's tons of people that authors that want to do it themselves, and that's perfectly reasonable. I'm not here to beat you over the head with this. If you can't tell, I'm not really a hard sale kind of guy. This either makes sense for you at this moment in your life or it doesn't, and that's fine. I'm okay with that because I sort of have internalized the concept of a sales funnel. Not everybody makes it to level 5. I get that. I've been doing this for basically forever now, so I'm cool with it. This So so you can probably get subscribers slightly cheaper doing it on your own. But then, what's your time worth to you? What's the learning curve worth to you? How much? And if you haven't done Facebook ads and you think you could do it, how much money are you willing to put up front? Like, most people will spend more money in the first 2-3 months with this than, or not doing it themselves, than they would had they run the program with us for 6 full months and just gotten the outcome anyway. So there's also that to consider, is that there's a learning curve. Facebook makes changes constantly, and so you're always going to be worried about that. And the other thing is, now you have to learn 2 different things. If you're going to be your own marketing department, you have to learn how to market. You have to go buy courses on how to market. You have to take time to learn those courses and apply what you've learned to your marketing. Do you really want to do that? Those courses typically cost hundreds of dollars minimum. Most of them, the good ones, are actually closer to $2,000 to $10,000. And I know this because I've bought a lot of those. So that's a ton of money that you're fronting. Now, clearly that's cheaper than a college education. But at the end of the day, that's time, that's money and time that you're taking away from writing. And that's also emotion and brain space. And when your ads stop working, what do? That's a huge problem for so many people, is that they can have a home run hit. Absolutely, that can happen. But then what do you do when it stops working? We have like 11 million things that we test. And the coolest part for authors, the part that I'm really proud of, is we handle all that stuff. All you do is get your people every month. You don't need to know what went on in the background to get there. I mean, if you want, we'll tell you. But it's like, yeah, we had 85 ads not work, and so we did this and it did. So that could be your life if you want it, or you could just pay us to do it for you so that you could sit there and write your books every day. That's where the real cost is, the real value. You might be able to shave a couple of pennies off this if you do it yourself, but is that actually worth it? Does that make any sense, even slightly? The emotional cost alone typically pays for this program 1,000 times over in the first 20 minutes of just signing up, because you're like, oh God, thank you. Authors hate marketing. I love marketing. That's just the thing. That's who I am, and I like doing it for authors. So it's like, this is sort of like a match made in heaven. If you are so inclined to do this, I would love to have you in the program. I'd love to have you on the webinars that we're doing, the trainings and stuff. Love to hear your questions. And most of all, I love to get the feedback from authors saying like, wow, this is super cool. I love it. So that's what it is. So thank you guys tonight for your questions and for showing up. I really hope you got a lot out of this. That's why I show you the sauce. I'm not. Hopefully you understand that I did not sugarcoat any of this stuff. If you are on the fence, if you're just about to launch things, awesome, cool. I'm super excited for you. It is a hard, long road, but it's a road that is like, fluffed with love. Because I know that if you're doing this, you love to do it. And that's an awesome feeling. When you can get up, you can write your books, you can put them out there, and you can see your work being appreciated by other people. It's a wonderful, wonderful business to be in. And I'm very excited you made the commitment to do that. Because I think we probably lost all the people at this point that didn't make the commitment to do it. They were like hobbyists, and they're like, oh my God, this guy's all gloom and doom. And I look forward to the folks that have signed up tonight to working with you. We've had an amazing experience working with so many different fiction authors. So this is going to be great. And if you've decided that this is something you want to do, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And if you're still on the fence, you can always email us, sponsorships@authorplatformrocket.com. And we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, if you can read more specifics about this program, go to authorplatformrocket.com/elite. More than likely, you've heard me on podcasts from this year and onward talking about it. And so, we have some really high level clients who are doing this already, and it's super exciting to have them and see the support of literally the entire independent author industry, along with some smaller publishers that are joining us. So this has been really cool. And if you are a publisher, if you represent a publisher, email us and we can have a little chat about these kinds of things and how we can help your authors sell more books so that your publishing house can thrive. Because we absolutely work with you guys too. Cool? That's all I have for tonight. I don't see any more questions coming through, so this is great. Once again, authorplatformrocket.com/elite. I look forward to working with you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming out.